Some of your topics that you want to talk about are great. The first one comes from a girl named Sarah who said, I want to talk about Andrew Tate and the Matrix. This is really interesting. So Andrew Tate is a topic. I was not super familiar with Andrew Tate when he first burst onto the scene after his arrest in Romania. And I went back and I looked at Andrew Tate and I researched him. I'd heard of him. I'd seen him before in a couple of media appearances, but I never really paid attention to him. I know he, as a consumer, he was more appealing to young men than to women of my age and moms, of course. But here's what I will say. Andrew Tate is a cultural phenomenon that even many conservatives don't understand how dangerous this man is. I have no idea if he is guilty of what the Romanian authorities are accusing him of. I have no idea if his rights are being violated because he's being held in prison without being charged. That all could be true, but that's actually separate. That's separate from what he has done culturally. What he's done culturally is he's identified that young men are underserved in our society. In modern American culture, especially, young men are told that they're toxic just for being masculine. They're told that they are sexist just for wanting to protect and provide. They're demeaned and degraded. They're feminized. And this has created a whole generation of very discontented young men who don't know how to find purpose. This is one of the reasons why Jordan Peterson has become such a worldwide phenomenon, because he knows how to talk to young men and say, hey, this is your problem. This is how you fix it. This is why you're feeling this way. And here's the solution. That's his thing. That's his specialty. Andrew Tate actually did the same thing, but in his diagnosis is correct that culture is really underserving young men. And so he speaks to those young men, but his prescription is absolutely poisonous. His prescription is wealth, women, power, and pornography. What could possibly be more destructive? What could actually be less manly and masculine than exploiting women and only seeking power, which is serving yourself? That is the opposite of what being masculine is. But it's appealing to young men because he makes it look like such a badass culture that he's taking part in, that he's just the coolest guy walking the earth and all of his expensive cars. But the reason that he's rich is because he produces pornography. He tricks young women into performing sex acts in front of webcams that creepy men pay for to watch online. Andrew Tate is incredibly dangerous because the most dangerous people among us are the people that properly diagnose a problem and then offer a poisonous solution to it. And that's what Andrew Tate is doing. So, great question. I did a whole episode on him. If you want to go back and look, it's called The Verdict on Andrew Tate. You can just go to whatever, whether it's YouTube or Rumble, Spotify, or Apple, you can search The Verdict on Andrew Tate and Liz Wheeler Show and it will come up. Okay, what is the next question here? Oh, Cody says, talk about how Biden applauded China while he visited Canada. I mean, it's hardly surprising, right? It's shocking, but it's not surprising. Two different things. I always like to differentiate between something that's shocking and something that's surprising. Something that's shocking shocks us because it's bad. It's immoral. It's atrocious. But something that's surprising means that it came out of nowhere. It was unexpected. Oftentimes in our modern culture, things should be shocking. And if you're surprised by them, it means you haven't been paying attention. Biden applauding China and cozying up to China is going to be shocking. It's always going to be shocking to think, wow, the president of the United States and his entire family are provably bought off by the Chinese communists. That is a fundamentally shocking thing because it's bad, it's immoral, it's corrupt, it's evil. But if you're surprised by it, then you haven't been paying attention. You haven't been paying attention to the years and years worth of reporting, not just on Hunter Biden, but on Joe Biden, his awareness, his participation, and how much he profited from the Chinese communists, and then how that has softened his viewpoints on holding the Chinese communists accountable for everything from human rights abuses, how they target the Uyghur Muslims, to trade policy, to their buildup of islands in the South China Sea to try to get a better position, military position, so that they can better threaten Taiwan. Joe Biden has softened his stance against the Chinese communists because he's been bought off just with money from the Chinese. Shocking, but not surprising. All right, a lot of questions asking to talk about the shooting. Oh, Jaya wants to talk about Jesus. I'm always down to talk about Jesus. What am I reading right now? Actually, you know what I'm listening to? I'm listening to Father Mike Schmidt's Catechism in a Year, which I highly recommend. If you didn't do Bible in a year, it's okay. You can still do Catechism in a Year standalone, but I'd recommend doing Bible in a Year first and then Catechism in a Year. It is so, it's not only illuminating. I'm a very intellectual person. I like to learn facts and figures and even come at faith from an intellectual learning standpoint. It helps me in my worship to intellectually understand everything. But Bible in a year and then Catechism in a year are both intellectual, but they're beyond that. They're really life-changing. So, and show us how Jesus loves us and how everything about our life and the world and the institution of the church is structured so that we can best accept and return that love from Jesus, that all-redeeming love. It's phenomenal. So if you haven't done Catechism in a year, highly recommend.
Hi guys, it's Liz Wheeler. Don't forget to watch my show, The Liz Wheeler Show, every night at 7 p.m. on the First TV. You can download the free First TV app, or you can visit thefirsttv.com/Liz and start watching today.